Okay, so the Master Roshi Showcase just aired as of today as I'm recording this, right? So let's talk about Master Roshi for a little bit, then we'll get into the patch notes, right? Because I'm more personally interested in the patch notes. But Master Roshi, overall, I have to say, he's a cool character. He's definitely the most technical character in the game. I can maybe see myself picking him up just to try him out. Not sure if I'd actually main him, but I have two issues with Master Roshi. While I don't mind him not having a super dash, number one, he cannot super jump float. That's an issue for me because that is one of my main ways of movement, and the fact that they made it so that he can't do that is very jarring to me. I guess what they expected was that, okay, well, we're going to use the jumping mechanic that we gave him and reverse Kamehameha for you to catch your opponent. Completely understand that, but is that a reason for me to play Master Roshi over other characters unless if I really like Master Roshi? No. Personally, that's just me. Another issue I have with Master Roshi is that I personally don't like his 2L. The character looks like he's going to be solid. He looks like he's going to be for certain people. Not sure if he's going to be for me, but he does pretty decent damage. His damage is pretty standard. I think his level 3 does a lot of damage. And also, just to keep in mind, if you were wondering about Mafuba is not that good in terms of snap mix. Just keep that in mind. He's not going to be a snap mix character, and he's not going to return season 2 snap mix. I know a lot of people was trying to make him like that with just saying that because he snapped people out, but trust me, it's not going to be like that at all. Also, really quick, I do like the way Master Roshi gets in. He has ways of getting in and ways of opening up the opponent. If you do 5 LO into his command grab, it's hard to see if he's actually doing the command grab because the animations look really similar, because he's literally just doing a bunch of pokes at you and then all of a sudden he's like moving his hands, so it's very visually hard to see. Also, a way he would get into you is that he would do his, what I thought was a command grab, but no, it's not. It's just like more so UI Goku's, where he would just teleport, well, not teleport, he would just speed behind you. He is negative 6 to be exact, but he can call an assist and he can make himself safe, which is really nice to have that for a character. His air command grab is pretty solid, I will say that much. I think it's pretty solid. I don't know how it is on Whiff because they did not show that in the showcase, but if you guys want to see the entire showcase in its literal entirety, like 4 hours, I will link it in the description below, right? Please go check them out. There was a really good showcase that they showed. But let's get into some of the patch notes. Right now, I'm only going to get into the most important characters because a lot of characters did get buffed, but a lot of them were really minor. I'm just going to say the ones that highlighted or stood out the most to me, right? And to start it all off with, I will start with the system mechanics. C-Assist has gotten a speed buff, right? Except during hit stun. Not sure if that needed to be updated. I always touch people with Android 21 C-Assist, whether it be on hit or on block. And the fact that they made it faster and people have to block that now and hold plus 50, that helps me out. I mean, I shouldn't be complaining, but didn't really think it needed to be updated. Just trying to keep it unbiased, right? There's also specific aerial special moves that got a buff. Well, not really a buff, it's more so just a camera thing. It seems minor, so I have to see how it's going to be used in actual matches. And they added a training mode setting in enemy settings where you can do counter attack conditions. So I will point this out, Super Saiyan Goku, he did get his 2M back, kind of. I don't think he's going to be that good anymore, only because, or not that good anymore. I don't think he's going to return to being this almighty Super Saiyan Goku like he used to be in season 1 and 2. Because the frame data is still bad. He has a -10 move with the old 2M that he used to have. It's not even the old 2M, it's actually a slightly slower version than the old 2M. And it still has a -10. Frame data is slapped right on top of that. I personally don't like that. I think personally that makes him way worse than he used to be, because if you think about it, the reason why they messed up his 2M is because, well, they figured that, okay, well, if we make it reach longer, right, if we make the leg go longer and farther, then that means that, oh, well, it warrants the -10, right? It makes up for it. But now he doesn't have that ability to reach farther, and he still has a -10, right? Because -10 is kind of a lie, and he still can't frame trap. That was the main thing about Super Saiyan Goku that people are upset about, that he cannot frame trap. Outside of that, though, he has a Kamehameha. which they added to a lot of characters with beams where the last hit will cause a ground bounce, which is a little interesting. I have to see how that's going to play out in actual matches and in training mode when it comes out. Piccolo, another notable guy. The thing that stands out about him is that his command grabs are now comboable. That's how you spell it? That's how you say that? Yeah, comboable. I don't know. I'm probably saying that wrong, but basically all it means is that he can now do a string with the command grab as a combo. So he can literally do light command grab, and that will be a true string, whereas before that wasn't a true string, right? And if you want to see how that's used in actual application in a combo to where the person can die from it, please check the link in the description below to where you can see the entire Dragon Ball FighterZ showcase, right? Because that was kind of crazy what Apology Man was doing. Also, go follow Apology Man. Really cool guy. Oh, one more thing about Piccolo is that his Hell Zone grenade doesn't have the smoke effect after level 3. Although I don't know anyone that was using Hell Zone grenade after level 3, I will say. But the mix is a lot more seeable if you do light grenade into level 1 Hell Zone grenade. So Cell also got something a little notable. From what I understand, it is the perfect attack. What ArcSys did to the perfect attack was increase the midair version damage, and they also added jump and midair dash can now be used after the midair version hits. Now this was something that Cell used to be able to do in season 1 and I believe in season 2, where he was able to get some type of mix after doing perfect attack. They sped up the startup of the medium version and the heavy version in the air, and they reduced the recovery for the mid-air version. Basically, the way Apology Man put it out, he's more like his season 1/2 self from what he used to be able to do. So another one that stuck out to me was Krillin. I think Krillin low-key is like on the come up of being like a top tier character. You wanna know why? I'll tell you why. Because they increased the distance of his normals, specifically his medium and his heavy attack. Now, normally, Krillin was considered a very bad character because of previous seasons. He didn't have proper Oki with his rocks at least, and his normals are really stubby and they're just not hitting anybody, right? Because they have no distance whatsoever. Now it's season 3 and his normals can take up half the screen, right? His heavy can take up half the screen, and his medium goes very far now. It goes very far compared to what it used to be, which is very interesting. It shows that ArcSys wants people to play these characters, so they're going to do everything in their power so this way they can be played, except for Goku Black and Zamasu. I will say Zamasu wasn't even touched, and Goku Black didn't really get anything notable at all. Just to point that out there. Something else to keep in note, Yamcha, I will say, right? Yamcha has taken somewhat of a nerf, but I think his nerf is the most fair nerf. Don't attack me, Yamcha players, please. Let me explain. Mainly because, well, his Wolf Fang Fist Flash, right? Basically, the borderline cross-up that is unreactable, right? That costs half a bar of meter, is now has delay when it misses, right? And this is pretty fair. I'm gonna explain to you why. I only think it's fair because you gotta understand that this move basically stayed the same while the system mechanics basically helped out Yamcha, because everything is now half a bar now. So when you take into consideration that everything is a half a bar now, it only helped Yamcha be able to, I guess, quote unquote, spam the move, but it made him a lot more free, I guess. When I say free, I mean this in a way that he was just able to do it and basically get away with it. Now, because you can jump it now, right? I mean, you've always been able to jump it, but now that you can jump it and know that you can punish it, it makes the Yamcha player think, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't do this like every 5 seconds because I have 5 bars of meter, right? That's basically all it is. It's just bringing the Yamcha players down to a more realistic standard for the rest of the Dragon Ball cast. Tien also got some notable buffs. I am a little interested in Tien, I will say. Basically, the most notable thing here is that he doesn't do as much health reduction compared to what he used to. Apparently, his health does not deplete like it used to, and they're trying to make it so that people will play Tien, because one of the issues with Tien just in general is that he basically kills himself while he's trying to help you fight. And Tien also got a lot of damage buffs on his special moves and his super moves. I know Chaozu, which already does a lot of damage, got an increased damage, which is insane. His volleyball fist follow-up 1 and 2 got a damage buff, which they already do pretty decent damage for what they are. So they really want people to play this character, and I think TN might be making a comeback on the tier list, I will say. Now, I play 21, and I just want to point out something about 21. She didn't really get anything buffed. Well, 21 did get a buff. Now it tracks the opponent, her air level 3, now tracks the opponent when they're in midair hit stun. And this is really good because there was really no reason to ever use the air level 3. Honestly, I still don't think there is a particular reason because now the basic level 3 will give me all my stocks back. So there's no real reason to use it, but I do understand why they added that. And another buff or nerf potentially that they gave her was that she now moves forward with her standing medium. Now, I thought this was a buff until a good old friend Nokami, right? Top 8 Evo finalist, right? Nokami. He pointed out in his stream that this is a potential nerf because the thing about 21 is that when she does medium, it's a way to space out the opponent even though she's negative, right? And now that you're moving closer to the opponent, you can't frame trap like you used to anymore. And I personally think that he's right, but I also think that there might be ways around that the community can figure out themselves on how to fix, right? Depending on how far she actually moves, it can be fixable, it might not be. We'll have to see about that. Also, Bardock B, right? Bardock B does not go full screen anymore. Still has the same block stun. You're gonna have to hold the mix, but you're not holding it from full screen. So I do feel bad for the base Vegeta players, but you know, you have to hold that. So another noticeable buff that I will point out, and I'm actually kind of interested in to see how people that actually play this character will use it, is Jiren. Now, Jiren is interesting, right? Because it seems what they mainly did with him was increase his hitbox on a lot of things, and they buffed his counter impact, which is basically the move that would only counter ki blast, now counter physical attacks. And they buffed it overall, making the move faster, so this way when people try to vanish out of it, they can't just vanish, right? That's a really interesting change because that counter was specifically made only for ki blast attacks. And his ki blast, which is basically his standing S, has invincibility to ki blast. It just seems like they are trying to make him almost like the show, where he's just kind of invincible to everything. You just gotta know how to use him. And I think Jiren might have some really scary pressure, man. I think he's gonna have maybe one of the best pressures in the game. Maybe not to Blue Goku level of pressure, but he's gonna be up there, like maybe top 10 potentially. So one thing I have to go over, right? I have to go over this. Honestly, I should have started with it, but I have to go over this almost to its entirety. Is my man Gogeta, right? Gogeta Blue, right? Here's my man's got the buffs he basically needed, right? Now, let's just start off with his standing light attack. They reduced the delay and reduced the character's pushback when the initial hit is deflected with Z Reflect. The second one, I would have to see that in actual practice, but the fact that the standing light attack is basically faster, it makes him a lot more of a faster character, and he's going to be a little bit harder to beat. His crouching light attack is now -5. If you guys don't remember, his crouching light attack used to be, I believe, -8, which is really bad for a crouching light attack. I know it's sliding and all, but that's not an excuse. This character needs to find a way to be safe, because the only button he could possibly stagger with was -5, and that was his standing light attack. His standing medium attack is now also -5, and it's a lot faster compared to what it used to be, which is nice because again, it's progressing the character to make him faster. What is really interesting here though is his crouching medium attack specifically. Now I'll try to put a clip on the screen to show you what this looks like, because I am a Gogeta main, and I will say that what they did to it was basically make it really fast, right? For what it is, it's really fast, and it can hit from very far now. Gogeta's 2M usually would never hit from very far. Now it hits like Vegito's 5L, or sorry, his 2M. Not sure why I'm confusing that, but it is what it is. And honestly, I'm very proud of Arxis for doing this, because the guy needed something So what they did with Gogeta's crouching medium attack is actually really interesting, man. Literally what they did to it was make it faster, and they made it so that it is able to hit you from way farther compared to what it used to be. It's honestly more comparable to Vegeto's 2M. And I was saying in what happened to Gogeta video that he couldn't even make it safe, right? And they didn't show it. They didn't show how it is on block. They only showed it on hit. But I'm assuming now you can at least try to make it safe, being to the fact that it's a lot more of a faster move, which is really good because Gogeta needs stagger pressure. That's basically what he is. His standard unique attack, which is basically his 5S, is his Kamehameha. It's a 18 frame Kamehameha move now, and basically it makes it so that it's on par with Trunks' beam and Super Saiyan Goku's beam, right? Most of the characters that have a beam that are 18 frames, this is now it, which is nice because it makes it a little bit harder to see when he's trying to reset his strengths. Okay, so Soul Strike, which is basically his quarter circle forward Rekka. Honestly, I have to see what they're gonna do with this, because I don't know how they are going to incorporate this or what they are expecting from this move. From what I understand, it basically makes it so that potentially you can hit people from full screen. That's kind of my theory. If you cancel the medium into the heavy, you could potentially hit... No, I'm sorry. If you cancel the light into the heavy, you could potentially hit people from full screen. I could be reading or trying to interpret this wrong, but I have to see it for myself, because for some reason they didn't show off this move. They only showed off his 2M, so I'm not exactly sure why, but we have to wait until the character comes out in order for us to really see what they're doing. And they also buffed Gogeta's B assist to where they sped up the attack of the move on startup, and they increased the distance moved during the attack. Basically, all this means is that the attack is just a lot faster in general, number one, and number two, you can probably do super dash plus assist now. Because before, if you were to do super dash plus assist, like I explained in my Gogeta video, you should go check that out, he was not able to do it, and his DP took forever to come out. I believe now, instead of a 25 frame DP, it is a 19 frame DP on assist. I'm not sure if that changed the actual move. According to this patch notes, or these patch notes, it didn't, but we're gonna have to see until he comes out, which will be Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, Tuesday on the 15th. And basically the rest of the characters, either I just wasn't really interested in, or they didn't get anything notable, right? And that will do it for this video, to be honest. I think that this is a really good patch. I think Roshi is going to be an interesting character for people to pick up. And I can't wait until my ranked matches start coming back, because I am going to be taking over. I'm letting you guys know that now. If you thought my Gogeta was nasty before, wait until these patches come out, man. Trust me, I'm gonna be taking over the rank scene. Just wait. And with that being said, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.